insulation, which I find to be a not good term, because when I think of insulation, I think of something being able to stay warm, okay? And I'm like, why, when it gets really cold, why aren't I warm? You know, so I'm like thinking that's just, that term is misleading. And of course, padding. Yes, it is important to have the fat available around these organs of the body because it's giving protection. But the one thing that you don't want to happen is for it to build up and, for example, be told something like you have a fatty liver. Have you ever heard somebody be told that? What they're being told is that the amount of this adipose tissue around that organ is affecting how that organ now functions. So they want people to, like, you know, work on diet and stuff like that. In the accessory structures, hair, they're definitely representing it here on the model, okay? They're showing it here and, of course, here, all right? Now, for humans, hair is found everywhere except for palms, soles, the actual lips, not around, but the actual lips themselves, nipples, parts of external genitalia, and distal segments of fingers and toes. Yes, in earlier man, hair was more, okay? Over geological time scale, the amount of hair on humans has decreased, all right? But what's amazing about it, okay, is its connection to our autonomic nervous system. One of the things that is so great is, have you ever like gone somewhere, been somewhere, and felt like the hair prickle up on the back of your neck? Okay, there's a little muscle that we're going to learn about that's attached to the hair. And, you know, we think about goosebumps where hair might stand up, okay? But this little prickle on the back of your neck that can occur where you might get that little sensation and you're like, ugh, something's not right here, you know? That is actually a way that the body has picked up on something you haven't yet. And it's a protection. So our hair is pretty amazing that way, I think. You know, it's alerting us to a danger. Early man, who of course had to go out and fight the saber-toothed tiger, depended on that. You know, depended on that ability to pick up on the danger. Yep. Same principle. They are picking up on something that could be dangerous. Yep. So, in looking at some of the parts of the hair, the part that we're going to see existing outside of the skin, this is termed our shaft. Now, here's what I want you to kind of note about this structure. The root. How many of you heard about the hair root in some way? Okay. Maybe it was a hair product that it maybe is supposed to promote the growth or something to that effect. Okay. The root is located below the surface of the skin. The base of a root, of the hair root, is termed the hair bulb. Now, if we come over here and look at this structure, here's my hair bulb, which is the base, right here at the root. What do you notice about structures associated with it? Okay, well, that's having a connection to it.
It's vascularized?
It is vascularized. In order for hair to grow, it needs to keep a blood supply. One of the things that you see in this structure here at the root, at this bulb, you are seeing it vascularized. Now, something else that is showing here. Do you guys remember matrix from the last chapter? Okay, hair roots have a matrix that's present. They have wrappings to them. They have a dermal sheath because they're in the dermis, and that wrapping is a dermal sheath. They have an external epithelial root sheath because that part has to make it going out, i.e. external. Now, they have an internal also sheath. So once again, 3 wrappings: internal, middle, outer. Now, as we look at the hair, some things that we're probably familiar with. You've probably heard of the cuticle. Have you ever heard of the cortex of a hair? And then the medulla. Medulla middle, okay? Cuticle outer, cortex middle. Well, if we're looking at hair, this particular structure, okay, there are so many things that are going to be able to happen with this, okay? We're seeing that, yes, first of all, we have the connection to the blood supply. As long as that is present, this hair can grow, it can go into a resting phase, and then it can start growth again.
Did you say the cortex is in there?
Middle. Yeah, the inner one. Now, as the hair begins to form and push outward, okay, going to the external environment, note there's a gland attached to it, the sebaceous gland. Now, I'm not sure if you guys remember that in the video, but as that hair is there, the sebaceous gland has oil. And do you guys remember showing it pushing out onto this outer surface? Okay? Do you remember what it said that helped with? Having that oil push to the surface. It would help to keep, but there was something that they pointed out in the video. Do you happen to remember? do it. It helps to keep out bacteria. It helps to contribute to the pH of our skin. And believe it or not, the pH of our skin differs in different areas of the body. So it helps with keeping it protected, like the waterproof, okay? But it also helps with what we call the acid mantle, which we'll see, because that helps to keep out microbes. Something else, do you see anything else that might be attached to this hair?
The erector pili.
The erector pili muscle. This is a muscle. It is innervated by the autonomic nervous system, meaning we do not control that muscle. This is the muscle that makes the hair stand on edge. The goosebumps. Yes. And then that little prickly feeling that you might get on the back of your neck. Now, this is kind of cool, okay? When we begin to look at what's going to happen. Now, you know, if you think about hair, head, eyebrows, pretty much all over the body, okay? There's a lot going on with this accessory structure, and that's what they call it. They call it an accessory structure. So that follicle, like I was saying, it has sheaths associated with it. In the part where we begin to look at where we have a blood supply, in that blood supply, okay, this is where we get growth. That is the point that we can have our cell division.
Wait, where did you say that happened?
That is going to happen in this area of the matrix, at this hair bulb, at the root, because we've got this blood supply and it is contributing to mitosis. The cell division. This is the only part of the hair that is living. It is the only part of the hair that is living. When hair, for example, gets pulled out, and you see that little whitish part at the end of it. Have y'all ever noticed that, like a hair coming out? What you are pulling out is that bulb. In other words, you're pulling out that source of the matrix and so forth.
But if that's the life of how does it look?
Now, there will still be a blood supply. Cells will begin to recover. And as long as the blood supply is there, it will work to begin the growth again. Now, in looking at that,